Welcome to Everyday Economics, a podcast that helps you learn about the economic world happening around you every day. I'm your host, Chris Krug, president of the 501c3 nonprofit Franklin News Foundation. Everyday Economics is a production of America's Talking Network. You can check out all of our great podcasts at americastalking.com. We're recording this episode on Tuesday, December 13th. And joining me, as always, my dear friend and colleague, Dr. Orphe Divounguy. He's a PhD economist. Retail, interesting year for that. Obviously, we're in the holiday season. Hanukkah, I believe, is only 5 days away. Christmas is 12 days away. So we are on what is absolutely the final few steps here before the big holiday deluge begins, the gift-giving season.
I haven't even started my Christmas shopping.
Man, I'll tell you what. Well, I'll tell you then, you know what? Then you're the guy that retailers really want to reach out to. So if you're the CEO of Target, or if you're the CEO of any other major retailer, Walmart, Nordstrom, since you're in the Seattle area, Dr. Orphe Divounguy is flush with cash. He's the guy that you're looking for. Hey, so when the season kicked off, there were reports out of the box, and it was like really felt like media was being manipulated. Local retail experts, people that are running public relations for local malls are like, oh, it's so busy. Oh, it's going bananas. It's starting to look like that has cooled off to the point that you can actually start to see it yourself. If you fill up an online shopping cart now, and I'm going to borrow lustily here from Brooke Masters from the Financial Times and her terrific story, the title of which is Desperate Online Sellers Feel the Pain of Closing the Deal. If you've been online and if you put something in a cart recently and then abandoned it or just got busy and went on to do something else, you are getting retargeted, emailed very hard to come back and close the deal. So is panic setting in for retailers at this point? Where are we in the market?
I think that's what we're hearing in the headlines. And I think to some extent, retail is definitely feeling the pinch. On Cyber Monday, the biggest shopping day of the Thanksgiving, Black Friday weekend.
Biggest shopping day of the year. It's the biggest shopping day of the year.
Biggest shopping day of the year. You're probably right. Sales hit a record $11.3 billion. Sounds like a big number, and there's a record in front of it. So you're thinking huge, right? That's a 5.3% jump from last year.
Doesn't even account for inflation, though, my friend.
It doesn't account for inflation. Exactly. My
I'm
point.
learning. Right? I'm paying attention.
Exactly my point. And what that means is people are buying less. It costs more, but people are getting less for their dollars.
Well, they're spending more and they're getting less. Right? I mean, it's on the offset,
that's right?
3% difference there at least.
That's right. That's correct. And so retailers are trying to move inventory. And in order to move inventory, they're going to have to bring up all kinds of discounts and bargains and come after you and advertise more. And eventually, if that continues, they might have to change their hiring decisions.
Listen to this piece of data from Brooke Masters' piece in FT. Ernst Young surveyed 21,000 people in 27 countries this autumn and found that 2/3 described themselves as more, quote, aware and cautious, end quote, about their spending. And nearly 40% also said they plan to buy less food and fewer physical products for Christmas.
Very consistent with the data we have on the consumer price index data that we have. The fact that there's a big shift from goods to services, and that shift is happening now. And so people are buying less stuff. It's just too expensive.
We've had this conversation ongoing, given the state of the economy with inflation as it is. And where are we, do you feel? I mean, the consumer price index, that came out and the CPI trended down. It's still, for November, still 7.1% above year over year. But where are we headed? I mean, and what do you foresee with regard to the impact on retail?
Retail is going to continue to get hit until prices have come down substantially and households feel good about these big ticket items. At the start of the pandemic, it was the other way around. Spending on goods soared. The whole thing is shifting, and we're seeing this rebalancing in the economy, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing for now. It's a good thing because we need consumer prices to come down. Consumers could potentially run out of their savings. And so with inflation coming down, and the economy returning to normal, This return to normal is absolutely necessary. Then you can have this sustainable growth in the economy. You can have this, consumers getting back to doing things to normal, and we'd run less risk of a bigger economic downturn in 2023.
So with regard to buyers, you might be on the fence at this point about spending for Christmas. What's your take? What's your advice to them? What's your advice to yourself since your stocking is bare?
Look, there's going to be some big discounts out there. I think people should just be careful to buy exactly what they really, really need and not to tap into credit cards, not to tap into their home equity to keep up the spending. The time for that is long gone. It's time to kind of tighten the belt and spend wisely. The pandemic stimulus is gone. Let's just forget about that. The Fed is intent on bringing inflation down, and it will raise rates to do that. And that means your credit cards are going to get more expensive. And so paying down debt, being very serious about what you're doing with your cash or your resources. And if we can all do that collectively, perhaps we will have a good year. When inflation turns in 2023, we will end the year in 2023 on a positive note, and things will be back to normal. And hopefully we would all have kept our jobs, because that's a serious concern for many Americans.
I think this is going to be a real test for personal accountability, responsibility, and discipline. For Orphe Divounguy, this has been Chris Krug. Subscribe to Everyday Economics and dozens of other quality podcasts at americastalking.com.